a uniform show. It's a new season, 2025 NFL season. We're going to look at the first few weeks of this year. And it's like last year. We have some great uniforms. We have some very bad uniforms. It's a very interesting season. I'll say that just to begin. It's maybe been the most interesting uniform season I can remember. It's up there. So let's look at this week 1. And to start, the first game that we didn't include was the Cowboys and Eagles, the opener, just because it was what we all expected. There wasn't anything special about the game. But I felt differently about the Friday game between the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Right. The Chargers could have wore white pants, but they wore yellow pants, adding more color, more interest to it, and also complementing Chiefs yellow a little bit too. Made it more interesting, even though the white pants are great. That combination, white, blue, white, is great in itself, but yellow did make it more interesting in this case. Being on the international stage made it different.
I just love having all the primary colors in there with the Chiefs red. You got the yellow and the blue for the Chargers. It's a divisional game, so they play each other twice a year. But it's a matchup when they do it like this, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Chargers, and as you said, you get different combinations, and this one worked out really well.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. We follow Rodgers closely because he's been one of the great quarterbacks in history, but he's also been one of the great uniform and especially helmet wearers with a traditional helmet, with a helmet that hasn't changed. And he's held on to that helmet until this year.
Right. How he got the shoot helmet that he had at the beginning of the season here, not sure, but he did, and it's smooth and it's round, and the face mask is just a bit different, but not drastically different, just kind of the sharp square corner at the jaw, but overall not that different. And then he again wears some of the better uniforms you could wear at the time that he's been playing: Packers, Jets, and now Steelers. So it's a lot of good look.
So that's Rodgers, but it also wasn't just Rodgers. This was a great uniform game. The Steelers road uniform is my favorite of the two, home and road, and we continue to enjoy the new Jets, that it's not really a new uniform, but the old Sack Exchange Jets uniforms.
Yeah, this was great. Eye-popping highlights to start off the season, seeing updates of this game coming in, and like you said, the Steelers road uniform set superior, having the contrast compared to the home, even though the home is great too. And then the Jets just having the Sack Exchange back and having the socks green, not white all the way down. Great contrast.
Yeah, I'm just so pleased to see the Jets now the second year with these uniforms after some really down years with the uniforms. Now that they have a above average look against a classic Steelers uniform, what to say, from week 1 on, it's been with a few exceptions, it's been a very strong season overall for the Jets, and this was just a great week 1 matchup.
Yeah.
And I would say the best of the week.
Yeah.
I'd even put it ahead of Well, it's close. What would you go with? Better week 1 matchup, Chiefs and Chargers or Steelers Jets?
It's really hard. The Chiefs and Chargers overall, you would say is better, but I just was surprised at how good the Jets and Steelers look. Hadn't really thought about how good that could look, especially with the Jets still being so newly wearing the sack exchange that I lean towards that originally. But I guess I would still give the edge to the Chiefs and Chargers ultimately.
Yeah, this is a close second. Just to have two strong games like that in week 1 was pleasing and impressive.
Yeah.
But on the negative, that was the positive side of week 1 to begin. On the negative, you have this, the Cardinals and the Saints. And the Saints let us down constantly.
Yeah.
And the Saints are among the teams in the league, from a uniform standpoint, I loathe the Saints because of how good they could look and how good they did look for so many years. And then they've gone with the all-black look. They were really the pioneers of doing that in the league, and now they've been experimenting with all these different alternate uniforms. And then they match up with the Cardinals week 1. They're at home to choose these uniforms.
Yeah, the worst looking team week 1, plus an alternate. I don't want to see an alternate like this in week 1. Don't want to see it at all, but especially in week 1. And wasn't tracking their updates in the offseason as closely this year, so this was a surprise, and it looks awful. And just don't know what to say about them other than that.
Well, just no stripe on the pants.
Yeah.
No stripe down the middle of the helmet. I mean, as much as I dislike these, just small things like that would help. Or could you give me gold socks?
Yeah.
Something. I mean, just some striping on the helmet and the uniform would go a long way. This isn't the first time the Saints have worn a gold uniform.
Right.
We could have brought that up. They've had a history going back a long time ago. They had a gold jersey, and this was a bad idea bringing it back. And what the Cardinals did didn't help either.
Yeah. All white, coming back for the second season. No red socks, which would improve this uniform greatly just right there. And so they just made a color rush out of it.
Yeah, it was a color rush for the Cardinals. I mean, how about a solid red stripe on the pants? Or red sock? Or something I've never understood about the Cardinals helmet. While I like it, the various regular white versions, could you give us also striping down the middle of the helmet for the Cardinals? It's always looked like something's missing.
Yeah, same as the pants, something. Yeah, probably the only positive thing you could say about this whole game was maybe the end zones are nice to see that they're actually painted a color.
Also loathe the dome football in the Superdome.
Yeah.
As our least favorite stadium in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
This was a dog game. Week 1. Not the way to begin a season.
Dark, miserable, dismal.
And two really bad teams too.
Yeah.
You can just say the quality of the teams on the field. These are two of the worst teams in football.
Yep.
They look about the worst, and then their play is bottom of the league.
Yeah.
And then the afternoon game. Well, the Lions wore what you'd expect the Lions to wear. White on white in Green Bay, and they lost. We want to talk about not the Packers uniforms, because the Packers have great home uniforms. We both feel exactly the same, that the Packers home uniform is the best uniform in football. But it's about Micah Parsons. The big trade right before the season. Parsons leaving the Cowboys and then being traded to the Packers of all teams. I mean, who would ever think there would be a trade between these two historic teams and playoff rivals with this much history against each other, and teams you think that would eventually face each other in the playoffs because it's happened so many times. And Micah Parsons has always been number 11 in the NFL, and it's always rubbed us the wrong way because when I think of number 11 in more recent history, I'm thinking Drew Bledsoe, Roy Williams was 11
with the Cowboys, yeah.
With the Cowboys, and Micah Parsons decided to be 11. Well, we figured he was going to be 11 with the Packers. Instead, he decided, I'm going to be number 1.
And number 1 has become recent times for me my least favorite number because there's so much empty space around it, and now you have large position players wearing 1. In the past you wouldn't, so there's even more empty space all around that 1, and it's the case here too with Micah Parsons. And on top of that, his jersey is more of a mesh material than you've seen in recent years and generations of football jerseys, and then he's wearing the white padding underneath, which makes it even more mesh and transparent looking. And for some reason, in the games we've seen him in, the jersey's always riding up a lot. So the 1 is getting really crumpled and squished up, and you're just not able to read it very well on top of it. It's just really bad look all around, and we don't want to see a single digit on players that aren't quarterbacks and kickers. The whole numbering system has been messed up thanks to the Chiefs, and we don't appreciate it, just like Tom Brady didn't. Makes it hard to identify players quickly and easily compared to the previous format.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is a superstar player. He's an athletic marvel on the field, but he leaves a lot to be desired with his uniform. And anything you like to say about his helmet?
Yeah, still carried over the new Axiom helmet without the top bar on it, and it just looks even worse. Looks even worse with the Packer yellow and green. The top bar missing stands out even more than it did with the Cowboys.
Yeah, so it's a very disappointing choice by him. And again, it just looks unbalanced. A player of this size, 240, 250 pounds, wearing number 1. It doesn't fit well. It's just too small. Just a side note, because we're stadium fans as well, not just uniform fans. Critics, you could say. But for me, too many prime time and too many late start, late middle afternoon games at Lambeau.
Yeah.
For me, it's okay at the start of this season, but it's such a beautiful stadium for those bright 12 p.m. kickoff games that you would get traditionally there. We rarely see them anymore. And I don't know, Lambeau's just not quite the same. The Packers aren't quite the same for a number of reasons to me that they've been.
Yeah.
In past years. And a bit overhyped as a team also. So those were the highlights from week 1. We're sticking with the Packers in week 2 because they kicked off week 2 in a primetime Thursday night game against the Commanders.
Yeah. And who would have thought? You said to us in advance, the Commanders and Packers are playing at Lambeau at night. The Commanders will be dressed better than the Packers.
Unbelievable.
Would not have believed it. But that's what happened.
especially with the Commanders choosing actually the yellow pants,
Yeah.
this is the best for their regular uniform sets. This is the best combo
Yeah.
they have. And you figure the Packers would not be, for tradition's sake, or the league would not allow them perhaps to use these in week 1, but it felt like when they chose to do this primetime week 2, they couldn't even wait. They really couldn't even wait to wear these. They couldn't wear them soon enough.
Yeah.
With the team with such a rich history, and they put these on in week 2. First game of week 2, prime time. It's almost like it was the uniform of choice. Like, we would rather have this than anything else. That's what it says to me. Even though they wore their classics, regular defaults, week 1 at home, really the first true opportunity they had, they wore them.
Yeah. If it's prime time, you can count on something different and usually bad from most teams, and that's what they did. And it's hard to know whether the Commanders announced their pants in advance, but it just seems like teams don't want to wear the same colors against each other. The Rams don't like to wear the yellow pants against the Packers, but again, the Packers are the home team. It should be your choice, and you're not allowing the Commanders to dictate what you want to wear, but I'm sure all that's just put aside, and like you said, it's prime time. They just want to wear something different, and this was what they wanted to wear the most.
Yeah,
and that's what matters.
It's like when they played that game in Seattle. It felt like the worst uniform game of the season last year. It was the worst, the white on white versus the neon green in Seattle. That really won the Packers over. They were just convinced, we got to keep these uniforms. And this was a shocker to me. Not that they brought him back, but just to see them this fast.
Yeah.
Just week 2, first game, week 2, right away. This is the Packers, and it's Lambeau Field. And I'm seeing this, and even though it's the second time it's happened at Lambeau, I'm still sort of beside myself as a football fan, trying to put this together, and I'm not okay with it.
Yeah.
It will always bother me, and I hope they lose every game from here on out that they wear these. And I mean, of course, getting ahead of us, they played against the Steelers, which we'll get to in our next episode, and they won again, unfortunately. But I hope from that point on, they lose every game, and I hope, of course, they never go down and wear these again.
Yeah.
They probably will, like around Christmas or New Year's at home, get the most out of these, but I wish them the worst wearing these uniforms.
Yeah.
But it's the same old problems we talked about last year. I would be able to tolerate these a little bit more, just with a few tweaks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't love them, I wouldn't even necessarily like them, but I would tolerate them more if you just give me a yellow stripe on the helmet and just give me some green socks.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be so angry about these.
And a green face mask.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yellow stripe on the helmet, green face mask, and
green socks.
That would help. I mean, because so many uniforms have gone so bad, we would be willing to compromise on a lot of things.
Yeah.
We would be. It's just unfortunate that a lot of these teams aren't. Back to Aaron Rodgers. So this was the first home game he was playing in Pittsburgh, and he was looking really sharp.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, it's not exactly what we had in Green Bay or New York, but it's close.
Yeah.
But back to the Packers again. A lot of Packers in this first episode. And I say the Packers were fooling around and were the fool in Cleveland. Because this was coming off week 2 where they were wearing all the whites.
Yeah.
They go to Cleveland, and hey, I expect the Browns to be dumb when it comes to uniforms. They're desperate. They're a seller team. They need all the attention they can get. They're a loser franchise. Packers, why?
Yeah, and saw this in the preseason for the first time against the Colts. Was like, what is this? White stockings for the Packers, like other teams,
Yeah.
trendy teams.
Thank you, 49ers. I hate to say it, our home 49ers certainly had to have an influence. Another classic legacy franchise doing something like this, almost the whole team wide in the Super Bowl, and then even worse from our opinion, the Packers.
Yeah, the Colts have done this, the 49ers, now the Packers, imitating other teams that are less historical, like the Eagles and the Vikings, even though those teams are very historical, but they are also imitating more trendy, less historical teams. But never thought the Packers would go down this path as well. But that's why this season has now become the worst season in Packers uniform history.
Already.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, because we're just talking about, okay, this is, when we're doing this review, this is only 3 weeks, that's an error, 3 weeks into the season, and 2 weeks out of the 3, they completely bombed with their choices. And some of this isn't a surprise to other people. We both try to avoid looking at spoilers. We don't want to see, we like to act as if, pretend as if this is the 90s again, or the early 2000s, where you don't know what teams are going to wear until you turn the TV on.
And you let it hit you.
Right.
You let it hit you like it would when you're not suspecting. And
right, you don't want spoilers.
Yeah, you get more of a real reaction.
Right, not a fan of spoilers. You didn't want spoilers for movies, whatever interests you. You didn't want spoilers for uniforms.
Yeah.
So that's the Packers. I mean, I'm more disappointed with the Packers than the Browns, but what can you say about the Browns?
Yeah, brown on brown. I was looking forward to seeing highlights from this game, and I was expecting the Browns in one of their more typical uniforms against the Packers in their typical road, and I would have ranked it as probably one of the better uniform matchups from the early part of the season here, but they messed it up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Just think about the Week 1 game there was last season.
Yeah.
Between the Cowboys and the Browns.
Yeah.
America's game of the week. It was a huge Week 1 game. Really the game of the day on Fox. And it was a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Browns, and you only get to see it. How often do you get to see it?
Once every 8 years, depending on the seeding for the extra AFC, NFC matchup.
So it's a rare treat, and you were hoping for the same thing because the Browns would be in the same situation against the Packers, and the Browns have one of the most underrated uniform sets that there are. Once they went back to the classic look, they now have one of the strongest uniforms in football, and I love the orange helmet, and they're the only team that does brown, and they make it look good.
Yeah. And again, said it before, really don't like it when AFC, NFC teams match up and one of the teams wears an alternate. For the very reason you were just talking about, they have these matchups so rarely, and I'm sure they're not thinking about that, they don't care about that at all, but once every 4 years, once every 8 years, depending on the location, gets messed up with alternates. Unless they're in the Super Bowl against each other, you're not going to see their regular uniforms matched up against each other. Or the preseason.
Now, for the New England beauty. This this helped in light of what we saw with the Packers and Browns. Steelers visited the Patriots.
And again, it's another game featuring the Steelers. No surprise, they make these matchups look great, but the early season lighting in New England just spotlighted the Pat Patriot uniforms that much better.
Yeah, I have to say, it was a great choice, and this is how you do it. Those morning games, especially if you're on the East Coast, those morning games on the West Coast, 1 p.m., 1:25 kicks, whatever it is, on the East, where you get early in the season, week 1, week 2, week 3, where you get the best lighting possible.
Yeah.
You either do that, or you wear them for the primetime game under the lights. You don't wear them for an afternoon game, November, December, whatever. You get them in early. And, yeah, one of the best games of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat.
And the Patriots, I like the Tom Brady era uniforms very much, but this is the better uniform of the two.
Yep.
Not a huge white helmet fan, but I love the red on the Patriots, and this is a very good white helmet. I like the striping on the pants. My gripe is, the number of the players on the team did not wear the socks correctly. What a surprise. But I feel like I'd be nitpicking with that, because the rest of the uniform, at least can we say from the knee up, is very strong, and enough of the players get the socks right. And how can you not love that midfield logo too?
Great.
And the Steelers, you love the regular Steelers uniforms. Are one fix for them would be the return of the block numbers.
Right.
We love block numbers, and we're unashamed of loving block numbers. We stand by it. Doesn't mean every single team in the league has to have block numbers, but if you have a history of them, why would you drop block numbers?
Yeah.
There really isn't a comparison when they bring them back. They're so much better than these, but this is up for one of the uniform matchups of the year.
Yep.
Top. For more of this. The Buccaneers have the road throwbacks. We've seen the home version, and this year they bring in the road version at home.
Yeah, and I was hoping they would do this just like the Dolphins do, just like the 49ers do, add the road version, especially in Florida, especially it being historical, and they did it very well.
Yeah, the creamsicles, and this is the original one from
Right.
50 years ago, which is a little different than what we were seeing when we start watching in the mid-90s. But I love what they've done here, and once again, the Jets are involved in a great uniform matchup. It was unusual that they decided to wear these at home. It works. And this also is one of the stronger uniform matchups early in the season.
Right. The Jets are basically a throwback. The Buccaneers are. It's an early example of two teams sort of getting together on a throwback game. Very much appreciate it. And like you said, these are the original Buccaneers uniforms with the orange numbers instead of red. And they wore the road uniforms the entire regular season that year. The preseason, they wore the orange, but the whole season, that first season, they wore the white on white. So it was significant that they chose these for this anniversary.
Yeah, and I love the fact that when some of these teams do this, and the Buccaneers are one of these teams, they go all out.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole experience, the whole stadium visually, it's all throwbacks, uniforms, and it's like they are a totally different team.
Yeah.
And this is the stronger look. I mean, we've really enjoyed the current set for many years that they have, and there have been some minor tweaks here and there, like with the logo size and on the helmet, and the pants used to be shinier. I still really like them, but this is one they need to consider making the full-time uniform.
Yeah, we've discussed it. They should bring these back as a full-time and have the current red and pewter saved as a throwback for the Super Bowl victories, and keep a home and road version of that as well. But hopefully moving forward they will bring back the orange home jersey and have both of these, just like the Dolphins do. They have one game they wear the home, one game they wear the road. Same with the 49ers. Hopefully they'll do that in the future.
And I know this was celebrating the 50-year anniversary uniforms too, but if they're gonna, I'd love to see them also consider bringing in the 90s version too.
Yeah, with the orange pants.
Both big fans of those. Not that they're going to be shiny now, unless they contact the Cowboys or the Raiders and say, "How do you do that?"
Yeah.
Because all these teams, other teams, don't want to put any shine on the pants. I'd love to see the orange pants with the road version. But, considering it's a white on white, it works. Why? Well, I mean, I feel like, can we give the Packers some lessons here? If you're going to go all the white, look again. That the face mask, the cage is colored. It's not white. You have the stripe down the middle.
Yep.
You have, striping on the pants, but at least, even if the socks aren't solid, can you give me some stripes on the socks? Something there. And uniforms were made better 50 years ago. Original uniforms than now.
Yeah.
It says a lot. But thank you both to these teams. This was the beginning of week 4. Rivalry uniforms. The Arizona Cardinals wore these at home against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. And they've not been a team that's usually worn away at home, except for maybe once a season in recent times. They did more when they were out in the open at Sun Devil Stadium in the past, but since they've moved indoors, not really. But they were the first team to wear the rivalry uniforms. And these uniforms are better than the regular road uniforms, as we were showing you against the Saints in week 1 in some ways, in that they actually have some more color in them, more red, a red contrasting stripe on the pants, and red socks being the biggest difference and improvement. And you can say the red cage on the face mask of the helmet's a bit better too.
I know we spent so much time ripping alternate uniforms, and surprisingly, as I look at these more and more, I'm finding less to criticize. They are, for me, better. They're superior than what we saw for those road ones. It's not even close, because they've got a more prominent, solid stripe on the pants. And then what we keep complaining about with these road uniforms is they actually have the solid red socks. And believe it or not, they have a red cage. It's sort of a little off-white, sort of a creamy white to it. And then the helmet is, all white as well. But the numbers are okay. The logo, it's more of an outline. But yeah, if they just made a few little tweaks to this, you'd actually have a pretty solid road uniform.
Yeah.
If you just made it all white, you filled in the cardinal, I'd go with these.
Yeah.
As the road uniform. Even actually as they are, I would go with these as the road uniform. And I can't believe I'm saying this too. They look better than the Packers roads.
Yeah.
Than what we just saw with the white socks.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever mistake that with the regular Packers roads. And they look better than the white on white Packers.
By
the
far.
white Packers.
Yeah.
The all white Packers. So I have to actually say something nice and compliment and give the Cardinals a good job on these for alternate uniforms. Can't believe I'm saying that. But here are our 49ers. This is a home game. This is not in Jacksonville. This is a home game. This is what they wanted to wear.
Yeah. And we knew something like this was coming because of last year's game against the Cardinals, where it was an unusual heat wave in the mid to high 80s.
I think it was actually in the 90s.
90s.
Last year. But it
was very unusual.
Yeah, but I just have to say, with this one, it wasn't anything like this. It was just sort of a warm day. Yeah. And they decided, we're going to go with the all-white socks because our calves are going to be too hot.
Yeah. So you get away at home for the 49ers, which is disappointing enough.
It's not only the away at home the 49ers are wearing. They're not even wearing the correct away at home because they don't have the red socks. They're using the white socks, just like the Packers. Now, most fans will say, well, what's the big deal? What's the problem here? Because lots of teams do this. Well, the 49ers are not another team, just like the Packers are not another team. These are legacy franchises. These are some of the most successful teams in NFL history. And as a fan of one of these teams, it's not only you take some pride in the championships, but that you have some of the best uniforms in the sport. It's the success, and you make winning look good. That's why I'm so disappointed and frustrated with something like the 49ers suiting up like this. And the Jaguars don't help, wearing their color-on-color uniforms. And then our final uniform to review is the new Miami Dolphins uniform, the all-black uniform. Black is about the last color we'd think of when it comes to the Dolphins. They've been putting such an emphasis on white, and this is another case of, well, we're going to do black for the sake of black, and apparently the fans wanted this. I'll say a few nice things, kind things about this uniform. It's not all negative. Numbers aren't bad, and they do have a stripe on the pants. But this is just so not the Dolphins. I think of cool colors. This doesn't go along with any of the color scheme that they have. And if they were going to do something different, I would even rather them do orange. This is a bad look, and one hopefully they won't wear again this year. And I hope they scrap. So that's a very full first 4 weeks of the season. We have a lot more uniforms to review with the rest of 2025.